Today I'm going to teach you guys how to hook up a backup camera wire by wire, step by step. So these are all the separate harnesses for when you have your backup camera kit. My camera kit came with two separate sets. I had to buy the camera and I had to buy the mirror. They came separately. But every kit is going to be relatively pretty close to this. So you have your camera and the power harness for your camera, your video cable to send signal to your screen, your radio. In my instance, it's a mirror that has a screen in it. And then I just have a battery here that acts as ignition or power. Now I'm going to show you how to hook this up outside of the vehicle so we don't have the vehicle in the way. Everything's out in the open and you can see how everything works. First, we'll start with the camera and we'll work our way forward. So at the camera, you're going to have your video output and your power wire. Now this power harness is going to plug into this power wire. Now that you got your power wire plugged in, you got your positive and your negative. Negative is just going to be a normal ground. I'm going to ground it off to the negative on the battery. You can ground this off on a bolt or the chassis, or if you want, you can run it all the way back to the vehicle battery. Now we got the negative hooked up, and the power wire on your camera, this is what you splice into your reverse light. So the power wire that turns on your reverse light, you're going to splice this wire into that. So when your reverse light turns on, it sends power to your camera. I just have it hooked up to the battery because it's not in a vehicle. It's the same thing. This would be the reverse light harness turning on the light, which sends the power to the camera, turning on the camera. Now that the camera has power, we have to send that footage to your screen. So this is your video wire. I'm going to hook up this end of the video wire to this end of the video wire. This has two because this camera or this screen has forward facing camera and rear camera, but this one is labeled camera, and so now we will hook that up to send the signal. Now it's hooked up from the camera to the screen, so now the footage can make it from the camera to the screen. Now this is where it gets confusing for most people. This video wire has a red pigtail on this side and has a red pigtail on this side. What do you do with those? These are the signal wire. So on this side, on the camera side, you actually splice this in also to the taillight harness. It's really hard to keep this wiring clean so you guys can understand, but what this does is that when you turn on your reverse light and it turns on your light, it's going to send power through this signal wire, through this harness, and out this signal wire. So now your taillight wire has three jobs. Job 1, turning on the taillight. Job 2, sending power to your camera and also sending power through your video cable out the signal wire. So now we're going to move to the screen, or your radio, or in my instance a mirror. And off of your harness or your radio, you're going to have a signal wire. It's probably going to be green. It's going to say signal or it's going to say reverse. The other end of your video wire, where the red tail comes out, that's what's going to connect. You're going to connect your reverse light, signal wire, trigger wire from your head unit to this red wire. That completes the circuit. This red wire actually goes through the video wire. That way you don't have to run an extra long wire from here to there. Now the next thing that I'm going to do, since it's out of the vehicle, I'm going to hook up my positive and my negative for my mirror to turn my mirror on so it has power. Now that I got it hooked up to positive and negative, you can see that it has power and that it's now on. And when I touch these two wires together, which will indicate my reverse light turning on, my screen will turn on. Now when I touch these two wires together, it'll be like my reverse light is coming on, and it'll turn on the screen. And that's the wiring of a backup camera. It looks pretty insane, but it's pretty simple once you understand it. Obviously, when these are touched, it's always on because I'm getting constant power. But when you hook this up in your vehicle, it's obviously not going to be on until your reverse light turns on. So when your reverse light turns on, it's going to send the signal wire to your camera. And then when you take it out of reverse, it's going to turn it off. I hope that helps some of you guys. I tried going step by step, wire by wire. I don't think I missed any steps. I tried to be really clear on what goes where. That's why I did it out of the vehicle on the floor, so you can see every individual harness and see where every individual wire hooks up. Now obviously yours will be hooked up to an ignition, so everything won't turn on until you turn the ignition on. Other than that, everything should be relatively pretty close. A lot of backup camera kits have the same harness. A lot of radios and backup screens have the same harness, same layout. So I hope that helps people, because when I learned, I couldn't figure it out. I didn't have any videos to help me. I had to sit down and figure it out, and it was really frustrating, and wiring can be really frustrating, and backup cameras can be really frustrating. But once you understand the wiring, it's not that bad. It's pretty simple. So I hope that helps everybody. I hope that helps.